The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod and we are coming to you live from the Warner Center in Woodland Hills, California. I want to give a shout out to Michelle, who's already said hi to us this morning and is watching. Thank you so much for being with us. I've got big news and other news for you. So it's Wednesday and you know that when we can here on Wednesday, we bring you Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh, and when we can't, we try to bring you somebody else, in particular Evelyn Kung. She comes and answers questions, and unfortunately Evelyn is away traveling this morning and Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh got called away as well. So I know, everybody take a deep breath. But what we have for you is an oldie but a goodie where Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh answers some really important questions that we think that you guys would really enjoy watching. If you have questions today that you would like to get an answer to, please write them into the comments today because we have an autism expert that's going to be on the show tomorrow. So if we get questions today, I will try to transfer them over to tomorrow. How's that? But I want to remind you that the show is still interactive. I'm going to be here while the live show is playing and talking with you guys and having an opportunity to do that. Can I also say, too, if you didn't get to watch Monday's show, Monday we had Joe Mantegna on the show and he was amazing, and the last 8 minutes for some of you got the feed and saw the last 8 minutes and some of you did not. If you didn't see it, please watch those. It was so great. And he said wonderful, wonderful things that I think are really important for people. There was an F-bomb dropped. I'm just going to give you a cautionary thing. There was an F-bomb dropped. But there was some really great, I think, inspirational moments. And if you're around LA, please check out the play Self-Injurious Behavior. I know I'm going on Friday night. But in any case, Traven needs to show you some of the ways that you can connect, because you can still always connect to us, even though we're going to go to a recorded clip. I want to remind you that our homepage is autism-live.com, and when you go there, you can chat with us through the live chat, and I'll be monitoring that throughout this hour. Or you can watch, you can click on the tiles, and there are playlists. You can say, I just want to watch the Temple Grandin videos. I just want to watch Ask Dr. Doreen. I just want to watch recipes. You can search by topic up at the top. You can put in toilet training, and it'll show you an array of videos about toilet training. You can go under it where it says topic at the top, and you click it and it'll give you the Ask Dr. Doreen. You click that and you can search any topic to find all the questions that have been asked about that topic on Ask Dr. Doreen. You can click on any of those and it takes you right to where she answers that question, which is pretty fabulous, right? And you can also go to the toy guide, which is at the top of the page as well. That's last year's toy guide. We're already working on this year's toy guide, and oh my gosh, you guys, have we got some amazing toys that are great for our kids. So all of that's happening there, and at the bottom again is the chat. You just click on the chat and then you can chat away. I will be monitoring that throughout this hour. And I will also be checking out what you guys write on YouTube and Facebook. And if it's a question for an expert, I'll be saving it for tomorrow. So without further ado, and by the way, you can always email me at s.penrod@autism-live.com. I love hearing from you guys. I didn't say the biggest news. The fabulous Traven just reminded me that as of today, this morning, we crested 4 million views on YouTube. It's not all of our views, right? Because we have so many on other places as well, including Twitter and Periscope and Roku and on Facebook Live, right? But today, this morning, it's kind of epic that we crested 4 million views on YouTube. So kind of jazzed about that. Love that you guys are checking out what we've got here. Speaking of which, what we have for you this morning is an oldie but a goodie here, and I'll be back at the end of the hour as well to tell you guys about what's coming up later on in the week. But here is Ask Dr. Doreen.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Welcome to Ask Dr. Doreen. We're here with Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet. She's a true expert in the field of autism.
Morning.
Good morning. You look lovely as always.
And so do you.
Well, thank you. I've been sick again. I know you guys have written in. I'm taking care of myself. I promise. But I feel so much better.
Thank
and that's
God.
just,
That's
oh
great.
my
That's
goodness.
great.
When you haven't felt well and then suddenly you feel well and
It's
it's like
true.
the sun is shining
It's
again.
so
You
true.
go, woo! That feels better. So that's a wonderful thing. But I wanted to talk with you for just a second about Dr. Grand-Pichet, especially if some of you are new to the show. She's been working in the field of autism now for, we can say with all authority, 40 years?
Yeah.
I mean, that just doesn't even
So
seem
this
possible.
is the year. Actually, we're past the 40, right? Because June would have been 40 years.
That
so
is
now we're
insane
going
to
into
me.
the 41st year. Yeah.
And no one would ever believe that. And trust me, she doesn't just look good on camera.
Pretty
She looks that
crazy.
good in person, too. When is the skincare line coming out? Because that's
Thanks.
what we all want to know, right? But in any case, I think a lot of it is living right because she has, for that 40 years, been helping our kids from very young babies up through senior citizens. She's worked with it all. And she also puts at the forefront of everything, not just the child. I love that you see the child or the individual as a whole, and you see their family as part of that whole and the community as part of their whole. And that's one of the reasons why so many of us follow you.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
It's a
Sincerely,
pleasure.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
because that's an amazing thing. So she is here for this hour to answer your questions. All you have to do is write into us on any one of the ways that we just showed you. And we have a bunch of questions already that we want to get to. I do want to give the disclaimer at the start of the hour, though, that there is no expert in any field that of any caliber that could give individual advice in this format. So we all have to just know and accept that it's limited in its scope. But if you write in and are as specific as possible, what you get to do is have a moment for a confab with the fabulous Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet and tour her brain, and it's a beautiful brain,
Thank you very
to
much.
find out what she knows, you know? So that's a pretty exciting thing. All right, can I launch in?
Go for it.
Okay.
We have a lot of questions.
Yeah, we really do. And this is a long one that I want to start with, but it was one that really touched my heart.
Okay.
Hello, ladies. Is always my pleasure. My son is 8 years old with autism. He is now verbal with lots of articulation problems. He's very aggressive and very defiant with some sensory issues. His tantrums can last 45 minutes to an hour in school as well as with his one-on-one. When he is upset, he hits, kicks, destroys property, bites, throws things at anybody, screams, has done this even to people we don't know in public, tends to run away when mad, and when the new one, and the new one is that he threatens to stop breathing, so he covers his mouth and nose when really upset. And she says, which I ignore. I shouldn't assume that this is a woman. This could be a dad. They go on to say, I can't even do errands without him getting mad at something. I give myself 15 and run out. I have no sitter, no ABA. I live in New York, but insurance only offers me 45 minutes once a week in a center, never home. Contacted card many times, and my insurance is not accepted, and I have 2 kids on the spectrum. Any advice? Ignoring him, blocking the area during tantrums, using first and then method with rewards, none have worked. I have no idea what to do. Any advice, and thank you. We got to start with the hug,
Yeah,
right?
oh, absolutely. My goodness, you have your hands full. So I'm guessing that you have Medicaid because that it is having problems rolling out in New York. That's what I'm guessing, because any other kind of commercial insurance in New York, you would have massive coverage. The only one that isn't there quite yet is New York is having issues. They keep rolling it out and stopping it and all that sort of stuff. But we should get an update on this, because it may have now finally rolled out. And if it does roll out, obviously, and we need to be, once it rolls out, we need to be in network with Medicaid. And so if we have our Medicaid approval, then we will get on there and help you, absolutely. So that is what the problem, that's the first thing, because you really have a lot going on, and this is not something that you would be able to typically handle as a parent of 2 children. You have so much going on. Even if it was me, I couldn't handle it. So let's just put it that way. You really need help right now. So that's the first thing. It sounds to me like please do write into Shannon if you can. Give us your information and we'll check and see what your insurance situation is. And we can also ask Bryce and find out when the Medicaid in New York is rolling out and what the process is there. If we're in network and all that, we help you there. But it sounds like you have 3 different behaviors going on. The stop breathing threat, which, by the way, he won't be able to do, so don't worry about that. The second one is the running away, which is very dangerous. And the third one is major tantrums. And so the 2 really big issues that we're dealing with here are the running away and the major tantrums. And like any other behavior, when you deal with a challenging behavior, the real question that you have to ask is, what is the function of the behavior? What is the child trying to communicate? It sounds like he is trying to get his way by doing these behaviors. And when I say get his way, it means like he might want an object, he might not want to do anything, like he might want to get out of a situation, he might want you to leave him alone, he might want access to a certain food or a certain activity, or he might not want any demands placed on him. So always when we do these behaviors, these challenging behaviors, it's because we want to avoid something or we want to get something. And that's really the way to think about it. You either want to avoid doing work or being in a particular setting, and you want to gain access to food and toys and things that you like, okay? Or attention. You could also be trying to get attention. And the way to handle a challenging behavior is to not let the behavior be effective. So let's say if I throw things when someone asks me to do something I don't want to do, we have to actually make the child do the thing so that he realizes throwing is not going to get me out of it. If I want to, let's say, gain access to something like a toy, and I hit someone, we have to make sure that the child doesn't get the toy, because they need to learn that hitting someone is ineffective. So there's too many types, there's too many typographies of the tantrum behavior that are going on. Like he is, I think, biting, throwing, destroying property, kicking, etc., etc. And you say it's when he's upset. The question really becomes, what is the reason for him being upset? Because whatever the reason is, you kind of have to ignore the behaviors and motor him through whatever was causing him to be upset. The other aspect of it is that, so in other words, we have to make, if he was able to speak, what would he say? So instead of hitting and all that sort of stuff, would he say, I don't want to do this right now? Or would he say, I want that toy? What would he say? That helps you. If you figure out if he uses language appropriately, what would he say? That's the function. So when you know the function of the behavior, you just have to make sure that he can get that thing that he wants in a better way. He can get it without tantruming. So let's say he wants a toy, and you know that he's going to tantrum because he wants access to that toy. What we do then as behavior analysts is we teach the child how to ask for the toy instead of hitting. And that's the really important thing. We ask the child to say, I would like a break, instead of throwing a tantrum. We teach the child how to, say, can I go outside and play instead of running away? So all of those types of things are one by one techniques where we don't allow the challenging behavior to be effective, but we teach the child another behavior that is effective, okay? So now, having said all that, can you as mom with 2 kids or dad with 2 kids handle this? No, it's just too much going on. I think you said he's in school, and the school really needs to kick in here. If you don't have health coverage, the school needs to be responsible for this sort of thing. He's not being aggressive or defiant. He's just aggressing and being, because that's his mode of communication. Everyone at school, what you need to do is you need to ask for an IEP, and you need to request a BCBA, a board certified behavior analyst, to come and advise everyone, the people at school. He needs to, hopefully he has a shadow at school or an aide who has been given to him by the school. If he doesn't, you need to ask for that.
She says he has a one-on-one.
Okay, great.
At school.
So that one-on-one needs to have training and oversight by a BCBA, and the BCBA will do everything I just said. They will do a functional analysis. They'll figure out what the function is of all of these behaviors. They'll write what's called a behavior intervention plan, a BIP, and they'll tell the one-on-one how to deal with it when he has these tantrums. And then they'll also train you, and they'll teach you and help you how to do this at home. So that's what you should do. In addition, if you have any time at all, and I don't know if you do because you have 2 children on the spectrum and you have a million things that you're doing, I would highly recommend that you go on the website Institute for Behavior Training, and
it's ibehavioraltraining.com, and I'm sure Samantha will put it up there for you too.
Right, ibehavioraltraining.com. Go on there. There you go. Thank you, Samantha. Go on that site and go to the parent section of that site and look at the module that has to do with challenging behaviors. And on the challenging behavior module, start looking at, you just start going through it. They're short modules, they're not incredibly intensive, but it will give you a really good understanding of why children have these challenging behaviors and also how to manage these challenging behaviors. So I would highly recommend that you, if you can, try to learn the ABA techniques, which you can learn off the iBehavioral Training website.
Okay, so just to recap, because there's so much information here and there's so many things on your to-do list, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed.
Right.
But the long term is that you need some help and support. Whether if you'll email to me, and it's s.penrod@autism-live.com, there it is on the screen. If you will email me your information, then I will connect and see where it looks like Medicaid in New York State is, to see if there's a projection of how long it will be before you're eligible for that, and then you'll get much more ABA
and we're eligible.
Potentially be able to be with CARD, which would be a wonderful thing with both of your children. If it looks like that's far, I just want to say to you that there are grants sometimes that people are getting to be able to pay for insurance that will cover the base of the insurance to get it. So if you can't do it one way, there are other ways to do it. So I just want to put that out to you, that send to me your information and I'll get back to you, because I don't have an email for you right now. But in the interim, you can't wait. You need to start working on first school. So you want to request an IEP meeting and make sure that there's a BCBA. And at home, you're going to help yourself by doing at least one of those IBT trainings, ibehavioraltraining.com. There are trainings, they're very affordable. And I know people say affordable, and that means different things to different people. They're under $10, some of them. So I just want to put that out to you, that it's that kind of affordable. Okay, it's a lot, but just if you can focus on those 3 areas for right now, and that moves the dial within a couple of months, I think you'd see a big difference if you work on those 3 things. But stay in touch with us and write back to me and let me know so that we can help you, because going it alone until you get more people on your case,
It's very tough.
It feels like you're on the other side of the moon by yourself, and we don't want you to feel that way. We hold hands, right? Si se puede, we can do this, and we will help you to get through it, okay? All right, we should take a short break, and then let's come back with more questions. Stick with us.
Welcome to Smarty. This month, we're going to be making our own chore spin wheel. You'll notice while we make this fun activity, these icons are going to be popping up onto the screen. These correlate to specific skill sets that are in the Skills program. Skills is the ABA-based online tool that helps parents build their own teaching plan for children on the autism spectrum. If you are a Skills user, this will help you get the most out of this educational opportunity. Well, let's get started. The materials you'll be needing are a large bowl to trace, cardstock, scissors, a pencil, a ruler, a hole puncher, a metal brad, and any other arts and crafts materials you want to use to decorate your pinwheel with. So step one, you're going to take your large bowl and place it on top of the cardstock and trace the circle. Step two, you guessed it, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut along the line. Step three, you're going to fold the circle into quarters. This is the best way to make sure all the triangles within it are symmetrical. Once you folded the paper, you're going to take your ruler and you're going to trace those lines so you can actually see them on the circle. Now here comes the fun part. Take your arts and crafts materials and you're going to decorate the chore spin wheel. I used some crayons to color in every other quadrant so you could see them pop and see the difference between the different chores. Place the different adaptive skills your child is working on in the different quadrants. Once you're done decorating the circle and labeling the different chores in each quadrant, then you're going to take your scrap paper that you had left over and you're going to cut an arrow out of it. Once the arrow has been cut, you're going to take your hole puncher and hole punch on the very edge of it. This will be your spinner. Then you're going to take your arrow and your circle and line them up and take your brad and place it through and secure it. And voila, you have your finished chore spin wheel. Well, I enjoyed making this activity with you and I hope to see you soon. Until next time, guys, craft on! To find more about Skills and to access all of the lessons you saw in today's Smarty, visit skillsforautism.com and click on the parent icon. Skills, the online autism solution.
Hey, I'm Candace Cameron Bray.
Tom Bergeron.
You're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
You're watching Autism Live.
Welcome back. We're so thrilled to have you here with us during Ask Dr. Doreen. Dr. Doreen Grandpichet is answering your questions in real time. Now, we had a question that came in, sort of a follow-up from our West Virginia mom.
Okay.
I don't know whether you were here for the first part of the question or it might have been Evelyn Kung.
Okay.
But her son had a meltdown at the aquarium.
Oh, okay.
A bad meltdown. And so she said, hello, Shannon and Dr. Doreen, West Virginia, mom again. My son, almost 5, has been having panic attacks since the disastrous aquarium trip a month ago. They seem to be related to the dark and now have gotten so severe he can't go upstairs without me. I have to hold him most of the night. Any noise sends him into a frenzy. Our pediatrician recommended cognitive behavior therapy, and I want your opinion and to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. An example of how his panic attacks manifest is his heart rate goes up, breathing rapidly, eyes dilate, his hands and skin become cold and pale. He starts asking for bath, I'm assuming it's because he feels cold, and eventually this leads to vomiting. Any input is appreciated and much love to you all.
Oh my gosh.
And much love back to you. This mom has been through it and then some, and always rises to the occasion.
Amazing.
I want to nominate her for having her own blog and show about homeschooling because she posts projects that blow my mind. She's just such a good mom.
Amazing, unbelievable. So I don't know what actually happened at the aquarium
And
that
I don't
caused
completely
this.
remember, but he had a meltdown.
Right. And so I think, the thing about, you could do cognitive behavior therapy depending on his level of comprehension, because cognitive behavior therapy is very similar to what we do on the higher level. So ABA is behavior therapy, and everything that you're pretty familiar, our West Virginia mom, with our curriculum, everything we do in our cognition and executive functioning curriculum areas is more or less cognitive behavior therapy. The difference with behavioral and cognitive is just that a lot of it involves mental activity. Cognitive behavior therapy, for instance, if he's having panic attacks, he would have to basically do exercises and stuff that involves like writing things and things that, and I don't know what his capabilities are. He seems pretty young to me for cognitive behavior therapy. 4-year-old, generally you're doing more behavioral than cognitive. So, and what I would recommend at this point is that, again, I don't know, maybe you will write in and tell us what caused it, but right now we know for a fact that he is afraid of a stimulus, which is the dark, right? That seems to be one stimulus that we know he's developed a fear of. So why don't we just look at it as individual phobias, which are leading to panic attacks. And then let's see if we can help acclimate him or help him get over the individual phobias. And so the number one thing I would recommend that you kind of learn about is called systematic desensitization. It's a procedure that pairs relaxation type activities or positive calming type soothing activities with the cause of the fear, of the phobia, of the panic. So the way that it works is that you will, let's say, he will have currently, let's say the aquarium, or I'm not sure if this is related to the aquarium, but whatever is the most fear-evoking stimulus, so let's say actually being in the aquarium potentially, would be the number one fear-evoking thing. Or at this point, it might even be being upstairs alone, because I can't put it all together, but it sounds like upstairs is dark. I'm not sure, but being upstairs alone in his room when it's dark perhaps would be the number one fear-evoking stimulus. And then what you do is you, let's say, take 20 steps down from that. So the least evoking, fear-evoking stimulus at this point might be, I don't know, maybe let's say being with you at the bottom of the steps. And then let's say one level up from that would be, let's say, looking at a picture of the upstairs area. Another one would be perhaps looking at a dark picture of the upstairs area. Another one would be, viewing a video of it. Another one would be like going halfway up the stairs. And okay, so you have to write the most fear-evoking and the least fear-evoking that he can handle right now, and then put gradients in between. And you could put as many as 20, it doesn't really matter, and they can be any kind of, they can be in vivo, which means he himself is physically in that situation, or they can be pictures or videos or sounds or whatever it is, okay? And so that's his fear hierarchy. And then separate from that, you will teach him relaxation, things that are relaxing, calming, and so on. It sounds like taking a bath is a very relaxing thing for him. Just the thing with the bath, you can do bath, but it's also better, it's also good if you can give him a couple of other things that are calming, relaxing, etc. They could be things like relax, deep breathing exercises. We teach our kids a lot of breathing exercises and like inhaling and meditation type breathing, and then that will generally calm the heart rate anyway. Music is something that's very calming to our kids. I don't know, there's maybe eating can sometimes be very calming. Bathing, of course, is.
She sent a little bit of an update. She said the aquarium incident was he was terrified of the dark there.
Yeah.
It was crowded and loud, and the animals were unpredictable as they move. He pretty much cried and was shaking the entire time, and the panic started there at the aquarium, and the asking for the bath did as well.
Yeah. Okay, so basically he is, right now I think what we should look at is a phobia of the dark. Let's look at it that way. So essentially it's the same thing. So you will basically think of some calming things that work for him. So meditative breathing and counting, for children, music, just putting on headphones, things that are the opposite of panic, things that are calming, okay? And you practice those separately. And then the process of systematic desensitization is that you pair the least fear-evoking stimulus with that relaxation to a point where he's fully comfortable with it. And then the next day or 2 days or whatever, you go to the next level stimulus and the next and the next and so on. So until he finally is able to be upstairs in the dark alone and he can maybe put his headphones on and be very chill about it. So, but you're not there, and this process will take maybe a month. And if you work at it every day, and what you do is you just repeat the stage that you start with until you see that he's fully comfortable. So you need to give him 2 to 5 different ways of calming himself. A bath is one, but that kind of always involves you. Maybe give him some other, like a warming toy, like a stuffed animal that has been heated up. You know, the warmer animals. Or, you know, other things that are comforting to him. Maybe he has a blanket that is comforting, or anything that is calming for him, and start working on your hierarchy. And you basically pair the two together. You just essentially, you'll put the picture in front of him, and then you'll see the reaction starting, and you'll give him the animal. You can also be part of those stimuli. You can be, your voice could be one of those things. You could sit there and say, you're doing great, you're fine, it's all good. You can hug him, certainly. But remember that ultimately you want him to be able to be up in the upstairs area without you. That's why if you are a stimulus, it's always going to be you, you know? So it's better to have stimuli other than you that he can use. And then that's it. You work your way up the hierarchy until he's independently able to go up again. Yeah. It's tough. Phobias are tough, but they're, believe me, this procedure is completely successful 100% of the time. So. And
I can attest to that. I've shared before on the show that in the second year of therapy, I had an event that triggered me having panic attacks. I had a lot of stress that was going on, and my husband and I was driving the car, and a piñata, a ginormous, I mean like the size of a small playhouse, fell off of a truck in front of our car on the freeway. Wow. And we were in the fast lane and had to try to get over, and the piñata was in front of us and sparking, and I didn't know, I thought we were both gonna die. I thought my husband and I were going to die, or we were going to cause an accident, kill other people. And I'm driving while this is happening, and all I could think was, my child is about to be an orphan, and he has autism, and what is going to become of everyone? And you know, we got through it, and it was horrifying. I mean, it's funny. I look at it now, and it's like a scene in a comedy film, because my husband and I were both screaming, you know, what do we do? What do we do? And you know, it's comical to me now. You know why? Because I had to go through cognitive behavioral therapy. Because what happened was, so there was this event, it triggered all this panic in so many different directions that I became afraid of everything and couldn't leave the house for a while, and I certainly couldn't drive the car, and I certainly couldn't drive on the freeway, right? And eventually I did cognitive behavioral therapy, and a lot of it is that understanding where I had to, there was things I had to talk myself through and things that I had to write saying, okay, my blood pressure is up right now. And that's normal for me. I've never died from my blood pressure being up. So what are my list of things that I can do to calm myself down? It was a lot of self-talk and understanding what was happening. For a 5-year-old, that could be really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
But we went through systematic desensitization on about 10 different things that I was now triggered on, and it worked. Yeah. I mean, I drive more than anybody else, I think, now. I'm a road warrior. So obviously it worked. But I do think that after I had the first panic attack, which was separate from the being in the car, it was about 3 weeks later that I had a full-on panic attack, and I was like, what is that? And a friend said, that's a panic attack. What you just had was a panic attack. And I went, oh, everybody talks about that. I didn't know. And that's horrible. Those are bad.
Yeah, it's really bad, yeah.
And the friend said, well, the worst part about a panic attack is that now that you've had one, now you have to deal with the fear that you're going to have another one. And that's the worst thing.
It's true.
Because you're at the grocery store and you're like, oh no, I hope I don't have a panic attack here. Oh my goodness, I don't want to have a panic attack here. And then you're pretty much setting yourself up for a panic attack.
Totally right.
So imagine that in a 5-year-old. But I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in that all of the things that Dr. Granpeesheh talked about are all the things that work and have worked for millions of people.
Yeah, it works.
I also want to say too that Jed Baker has a fabulous, fabulous book that's overcoming anxiety in teens. And I know that's going to be like, he's a 5-year-old, so what could that possibly be? But there, and it's for all teens, not just teens on the spectrum, but there is a chapter in the book that is just for special needs kids, whether it's autism or Down syndrome or other things. And he talks specifically about dealing with anxiety with those kids. And I still think, having read the book, there are things that will help you, because he says the number one thing is that you have to make it worth their while to work on these things with them.
Right.
And that's the thing. And so I think you'll be able to apply some of that, and that I think you'll enjoy the book. And I think it's like $11 on Amazon. I do love Dr. Jed Baker. Not as much as I love you,
No.
but I do love Dr. Jed Baker. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back with more of your questions. Stick with us.
Hard times lead to good choices. Many times you're going to find out that change is coming, and it's not something that you like to see. Things sometimes just don't work. Sometimes you have to put your child in a new school. Sometimes you have to put them in a different classroom. Often you'll see this with perhaps special education versus regular education, or everyone's favorite, puberty. All bets are off then. However, these things happen when they need to happen. So making that hard choice is super, super scary. But when you open those doors to look at things that maybe you've never dreamed you would have to look at, you're going to find help that you never expected. There are a lot of people out there dealing with the same things that you are dealing with, and there is a level of help that you never even knew existed. So don't be afraid when it's time to look at the scary problems that you're having. When those things come up, when the aggression increases, when things are falling apart at home, when you're getting the calls from the schools, don't be afraid. Reach out. Find out what you need to do. You might need to look at new schools, new housing. You might need to access new levels of service. But I am telling you, you're going to see amazing things. There are children that, as they grow, do things with the help of others, very specialized support, that you never thought they could do. So once you do that and you meet the child where he or she is and you give them what they need, everybody can do better, and you're going to see amazing progress.
This is Logan Shepherd. At first glance, he looks like a typical American teenager. He plays in a band, loves hanging out with his friends, he doesn't like doing homework, and he's not really fond of broccoli. But Logan Shepherd is not your typical 14-year-old. Logan was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. He was nonverbal, made no eye contact, and his parents were told to abandon all hope. Instead, his parents began an intensive intervention treatment. At its center was a quality ABA program known as the CARD method. This is Logan Shepherd now.
All I really want to say is, I'm kind of copying Martin Luther King. I kind of have a dream that one day I can just inspire people and never give up, because that's what I want to do in life, because if I can succeed, they can succeed, and I will succeed.
To follow Logan's musical journey, visit www.facebook.com/officialdrummerrock or @drummerrock on Instagram. For more information on the CARD method, visit www.centerforautism.com or call 800 345-CARD. Rock on, Logan.
Welcome back to Autism Live and to Ask Dr. Doreen. We're here with Dr. Doreen Graham-Pichet, and she is answering your questions in real time. Okay, I'm going to rapid fire go through a couple of questions here. Hi, Shannon. How can I get a mentor to help us to get all the help we need? We live in Round Rock, Texas. Now, I don't know where Round Rock is.
I do.
Do you? Where's it close to?
It's off of Austin. It's really close to
Oh.
Austin. Yeah. So we actually have a bunch of sites in
Yeah.
Austin. So I really recommend you contact our sites in Austin because we do have some amazing supervisors there. And I know they're super, super busy, but I just really suggest that you contact the site there, one of the sites there.
And if you're close to Austin, too, I can tell you that we've got some amazing parents in some of the Austin offices, and there's one mom in particular that does regular workshops for free in the community about not only getting the most out of your card therapy, but how to hook yourself up with all the funding resources. She's really kind of amazing.
That's amazing.
So good on you that you're in that area. The first thing you want to do is go to centerforautism.com and start on it's called the portal. It says enroll here. You're not obligated for anything, but it starts the conversation. You can also call the individual offices, but they will then very quickly say, you know, let's put you through the enrollment process and get you started. And that's the best gift you can give yourself. Trust me, I have been down that path, and you will never be sorry if you do that for yourself and for your child or children. Okay. Hi, Shannon. I love the show. I was diagnosed as being autistic this past December at the age of 34. While I was diagnosed after the DSM-5 changed the autism diagnosis into a blanket diagnosis, the psychologist who diagnosed me said it is extremely mild and would at one time be considered Asperger's. I live in New York State, which allows citizens with disabilities, including ASD, to sign up for the 55-B program, which designates jobs for disabled individuals and places preferential status into disabled job seekers in the hiring process. However, as my ASD is considered extremely mild, I feel very guilty that by using this preferential service, I'm potentially taking a job away from someone who is lower functioning or has more of a severe disability than I do. Are these feelings reasonable, or should I just use the services available for me regardless and thank you? Isn't that a beautiful question?
That is so beautiful, and it's so beautifully written as well. You know, Eric, I would say just go for it. If you're looking for a job and you find the right job, there's nothing wrong with using the 55B program to get a little bit of preferential treatment and just find the right job. Having said that, you should probably also consider pushing yourself and doing something that might not, you know, don't just go for whatever your maximum capabilities are. And guilt is, to me, a really silly feeling. I don't think guilt does anybody any good. I just feel like you should probably go ahead and push yourself. Just judging by the way you've written this email, you're incredibly competent. So good luck. I'm sure you'll find a really good job.
And just to throw a log on that, because I suffer from survivor guilt, and
Yes.
I feel guilty all the time. I get it, but I want to say to you that by taking a job and doing well in it, you will help other people to be hired as well. So you can represent for your community by taking one of those jobs. I think that would be a really good thing for our community. Okay, so another viewer wrote in and said, my daughter has been diagnosed to have mild to moderate autism at 21 months of age. Speech therapy will be relevant in her age, or just behavioral therapy and OT?
No, speech therapy would be relevant at age 21 months. I mean, I hesitate. Okay, so if you have really, really good and intensive ABA, then I wouldn't worry as much about whether or not you're getting speech. But I would say if depending on how many hours, so like at 21 months, I would probably recommend a 40-hour-a-week ABA program that is really high quality, and then I wouldn't worry about anything after that. But Having said that, the likelihood of that is low, so I would suggest that you also try to kind of add speech, add OT, and you say mild to moderate, so I'm assuming that your child has language. And if they do, and if they're relatively fluent, then you're less worried about the speech. But in general, I would say speech is good to have for a young child.
And I just want to say that, make sure that you're prioritized, because a lot of times people write in and say, well, so the school offered me speech and it's right in the middle of the day now I can't get any ABA that day.
Right.
So what I always tell families, make yourself a manifesto of what's most important and then follow that, and you won't have to think it through.
It's so true.
Put ABA first.
That's true.
And then depending on whether your child is having more speech or, physical issues, or what age they are, you put speech or OT second,
That's
right?
That's
and then
right.
everything else comes below that.
Right.
So if it's a choice between can you do therapy right now, good quality behavioral therapy, or speech, therapy.
There you go.
But if you don't have the therapy, speech is great.
Right.
In an ideal world, you'd be able to do all of them, but there are very few ideal worlds.
Absolutely. That's right.
Anyway, okay, moving on. I put 2 potty training questions back to back because they're both potty training. The first one is, my son is 5 years old, severe autism, trying to potty train, what to do. And the second one says, my daughter is 8 years old, nonverbal, still not using the potty. I work and school does what they can. Time schedule makes it hard. Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, with both of those, it has been shown that ABA is extremely effective in training anyone to use the toilet appropriately. So the good news is that it is very doable and you can master potty training. I think in the past we've gone through the potty training protocol that we use. It's a Fox and Azerin procedure that we've referred to numerous times on this show. I think Sienna may have even done a full show about this.
We have a video that we play with her where she goes through things. We air it regularly on the show. Probably the next break, Samantha. At some point today, she'll air it for you guys. Oh, no, I can't. We have something we have to edit out of it.
Okay.
So we won't be showing that today. Forgive me.
Okay.
But we'll edit that and show that for you. But I'll tell you what you can do is if you just search Ask Dr. Doreen.
I've talked about the procedure numerous times here.
And there is a site that is not yet on our website, but it's on the CARD website. It will direct you. If you put in Ask Dr. Doreen, it will show you a site. When you go to it, it has all of the topics that we talk about by topic.
That's
so you can go to toilet training, and then when you go to toilet training, it will show you a bunch of questions, and the one that most applies to what you're trying to do, you can click on it and it will take you exactly to that show in that moment.
That's
which
amazing.
We just love. Eventually we're going to have that whole thing up to date and on our website, but right now it's on the CARD website.
Yeah, I love it. It's so useful. And it's just, I would repeat it here, but it is a pretty detailed procedure and it takes a really long time to go over. But it's important that you look at that because, or look it up. It might even be online. It's called Fox and Azerin. Those are the authors. And they wrote a toilet training procedure many, many years ago, and most of us in ABA use that procedure because it's really effective.
And it works like a charm.
It does.
Works like a charm. Okay, moving on. Hi, my son is 3 and has autism and pica behaviors, especially with paper, cardboard, and laminated paper. He is nonverbal, so how do we teach him PECs? He really needs a form of communication, and thanks. I'm concerned because with PECs, a lot of times it's laminated paper.
That's right. This is very true. Good point. So we have 2 separate issues here. So he has pica, which for our viewers who aren't familiar with that, it's just putting things in your mouth or ingesting things that are non-edible. So and it looks like it's focused on, it's odd that it's laminated paper because that is a very, very different texture than cardboard and paper, and it also, sometimes we wonder if the kids have nutritional deficiencies, and laminated paper just throws the whole theory off here.
Right.
But basically, you want to stop that, obviously, and Shannon is right. If you go to PECs is all cardboard and laminated paper, and it might actually cause a little bit more of a problem for you. What I really think you should try to do at this point is if you can afford to get an iPad, or perhaps you could also apply to ACT Today, Autism Care and Treatment Today, you should be able to get an iPad from us because we do provide that that's our charity. But if you have an iPad, that is the way to go. There are several programs that, like Proloquo is one of them, but there are others now, where it's sort of it's a PECS program on the iPad. So there's no paper involved here, and essentially then it's just a number of icons. And the icons are much, much better because you could take photos and stuff, and the icons are out there, and then the child learns how to touch an icon or to even bring it up on their iPad in order to communicate. It is not a simple procedure for me to teach you to tell you how to do PECS. In fact, there's multiple stages of PECS. So what I would say is, I agree with you, he definitely needs a form of communication, otherwise he will start to have challenging behaviors. So the real question here is, how can we get help for you? Do you have insurance? Do you live in a state where there is an autism mandate? If you can find that, all of that information is on our website as well, where the states that have mandates. And if you would like us, we can try to help you with finding out if your insurance has coverage. You can just call your insurance company and ask them. And once you get coverage or Medicaid in your state, because we take Medicaid, and if you can get that coverage, then you can get professionals, BCBAs, who can come and help set up a PECS program for you, therapists who can come and actually work directly with your child and teach him to stop the pica behavior and to learn language and to progress and so on. Autism is not a condition which just is stable. Children learn despite the autism, and some children learn rapidly enough that they can overcome the vast majority of the symptoms that are debilitating with autism. So please don't just assume that this is the end. Please get your child into a program, an ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis program, that will help your child accomplish as much as he or she can.
I'm almost positive that there is in IBT a video about teaching PECS and
Fantastic. That's the best place to go.
So iBehavioral training, get a training about teaching functional communication, and they will that will be informative for you. We're finding that more and more insurance companies will pay for the iPad.
Yes, that's also true, which is amazing. And also the other thing I found out is that Proloquo, the company, actually provides training on how to use the iPad with Proloquo. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, so lots of different resources there. If your insurance won't pay for an iPad, as Dr. Grant-Pichet said, you can apply for a grant from Autism Care and Treatment Today. They will be in a grant phase in the month of October, starting October 1st, ending on October 31st. Anyone can apply for a grant for, it's for autism care and treatment, so you can apply for iPads, you can apply for copays. That's available to absolutely anyone. I always say utilize everything that you can. Maybe if your insurance will pay for the iPad, you can apply for something else that you need from ACT Today. All right, so quick break, and then we'll come back and throw some more questions as fast as we can at Dr. Grant-Pichet. Stick with us.
What is autism? What is autism?
What is autism?
What is autism?
What is autism?
What is autism?
I've been asking myself that for a very, very long time.
Let me think about that one.
Trying to just
Jeez. Let me think. Oh man, that's a rough one. Yes.
Autism. Autism is a neurological disorder that affects many of our kids in different ways.
It's a learning disability that affects the cognitive functions of the brain.
A lot of people have the misconception that it's a disability, and it's really not.
I look at it as like a special gift.
When one person thinks differently from another.
It's an opportunity for everyone to learn to understand someone that's a little different than them. Autism is the ability to educate.
They're given so much talent in different areas.
To me, autism means a chance to be with and be around people you really care about. Autism is beautiful.
It's a way of seeing the world differently.
Always unique, totally intelligent, and
sometimes mysterious.
Happiness that comes out of my son's hard work.
It's a movement.
Unpredictable.
That's right.
Awesome. Love. The field I want to work in.
Laughter, fun, joy. Autism is beautiful to me.
I want you to remember these 3 words. There is hope.
Parent-to-parent token economies are a great way to get to good behavior with your child. So first of all, let's talk about what is a token economy. It's just a visual representation of reinforcement or a reward that's going to come later on for behavior that you've done now. So I've got a couple examples here of token economies that I want to show you. But one of the most important things to remember with a token economy is that it's essential that whatever the child is working for be meaningful to them. So here, this is a 2-part token economy. I've got a list of things for the child to pick from, to pick what they want to work for. So the child would pick off the one they want, put it on their other token economy, and you can see it says, I'm working for a play date. What a great thing to work for. And as this child progresses through their day at school, every time they do a task and they do a good job, they're going to get a token to put on this token economy. And we've got a rule in place for them that says maybe you have to get 3 tokens in order to get that reward, which today is a play date. And as the child gets better, we're going to make it harder and harder. Maybe next week it's going to be 4 tokens to get the play date. This is another token economy here. This is a task completion token economy, so every time the child completes a task that there's a picture of, they can peel off a token and put it on to demonstrate that they have completed that task. Again, it's essential that they get a really wonderful, meaningful reward for having gotten these tokens. Using a token economy can be much simpler than this too, because you can download them to put a free app on any one of your devices. Right here on my phone, I've got a free app, Easy Kid Tokens, and when my child does a task and completes it, and he can specify what the stickers are. In this case, it is a ladybug, and when he gets 3 of them, then he's going to get his reward. This is a really simple way to take something with you when you're going on an outing and make sure that your child is staying on task and getting rewarded for the things that they do. It leads to good behavior. One of the most frightening things there is when your child wanders away. I'm just going to close this show. Hi, welcome back. We're just we're done with Ask Dr. Doreen, and I just wanted to take a second to talk with you guys about who's on the rest of this week. So tomorrow, I promised you an autism expert. Tomorrow, Hitomi Wada is going to be with us. She's an autism expert. She's going to be answering your questions. And Dr. I'm going to get it wrong. Salasia Gola, who is a neurologist, is going to be with us tomorrow. A neurologist who's an expert in autism. Isn't that going to be fabulous? And then on Friday, you guys are going to love, for Let's Talk Autism, and Shannon and Nancy, we are having our wonderful Swathi and Siri is going to be with us, also talking about some amazing things that they have going on. If you don't know Swathi and Siri, then you need to tune in on Friday. So we will be back tomorrow to chat with you, and I hope can I just say that I thoroughly enjoyed watching Dr. Doreen, that episode that was recorded, but I also really enjoyed talking with so many of you during the crawl. That was like great fun, and thank you so much. I want to say thank you to Tiffany. I love when you guys represent and talk about how amazing ABA is. It just makes me so happy. And anybody who had any other questions, there were a couple of things that obviously I couldn't answer, in particular on YouTube. If you need to write to me with details about things that you need chased down, put me to work. s.penrod@autism-live.com. Okay, we will be back tomorrow, but until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.